What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Talking Pigskin 2019 edition. Yes, Kishwar is back. I know y'all missed me. Sorry I've been MI for so long, but no worries. There will be videos from today until the end of season every single Wednesday. I promise you that. Well, I know we should have done a Super Bowl review show. We should have done a draft review show, but we haven't. So we're going to jump right into the 2019 season. And today we're going to preview the NFC West and the AFC West. Now let's start with the NFC West. We have the Arizona Cardinals, who had the #1 pick last year at the draft. Well, this year at the draft, and they drafted Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. Sure, they drafted Josh Rosen last year. Unfortunately, the experiment didn't work out. They ended up letting go of their coach. Now they have Cliff Kingsbury coming off Texas Tech. They have a new DC in Vance Joseph coming off the Denver Broncos job. So they're revamping. Early prediction from the Cardinals camp, Kyler Murray has been looking good. Even Larry Fitzgerald, who's been in the league for a very long time, is raving about him. What do I think? Now, last year I had a really bad experience by making a dumb prediction on Patrick Mahomes, saying that he might not be the answer to Kansas City. I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to hold my judgment on Kyler Murray, but I'm going to say he's going to struggle. That division has great defenses. You look at the Seattle Seahawks, look at the San Francisco 49ers, even the LA Rams with the best defensive player in Aaron Donald. Kyler Murray is going to see a lot of looks that he's never seen in Oklahoma, so he's going to struggle. But what do I think about the Cardinals? With Cliff Kingsbury and the defensive additions they have are Terrell Suggs, Jordan Hicks, Brooks Reed on the linebacker side, and I just don't know with Still Wilkes gone if this team will improve. Sure, Vance Joseph was a good DC before, but his play calling has diminished over the last couple of years with the Denver Broncos. But let's see what happens. I'm going to predict the Cardinals to finish 5-11 this year. Let's move on to the LA Rams, who were in the Super Bowl last year, but can't help but to mention their offense was invisible in Super Bowl. Sure, it was a very low-scoring game. It was a very defensive game. But Jared Goff in the biggest stage, granted it was his first ever Super Bowl. I'm sure he's going to play many more Super Bowls if he continues the way he has been playing. I think he just didn't show up that day. Todd Gurley in big games, we know what happens to him. Unfortunately, he also is battling arthritis problems, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with him during the season. So I'm going to say player to watch for LA Rams, there's running back Donald Henderson. He's an undrafted free agent. They've been raving about him. Sure, they had C.J. Anderson backing up Todd Gurley for last season, but that's not going to be the case this year. We're going to have to rely on the rookie, and hopefully it'll come through for them. Defensively, what do you look at? They added Eric Weddle at safety, and they also added Clay Matthews in the linebacking spot. Of course, you have Aaron Donald, and Ndamukong Suh has left the team, so did LaMarcus Joyner, but I'm thinking with the addition of these two veteran players, they'll be in a very good spot. So I think the Rams are going to have a good year again, and I picked them to win this division at 11-5. Let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Jimmy G got hurt last year very early, and unfortunately, what we thought was going to happen with the Niners did not happen. Let's hope he stays healthy this year. So what happens if he stays healthy? Look at their team. On the defensive side, they added Quan Alexander, D. Ford, and on the offensive side, they added Jordan Matthews and Tevin Coleman. Of course, they also have George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the game right now. Matt Breida will be running the ball with Tevin Coleman, so it's not that terrible of a backfield that they got there. But it all starts and ends with Jimmy Garoppolo. That defense will be good, with also the addition of Nick Bosa. But I don't think they have signed him yet, so the faster they get him in camp, the better it will be for the Niners defense. But like I said, it starts and ends with Jimmy Garoppolo. He stays healthy, this team will finish 8-8. If he doesn't, this team will fall off very quick. And the last team in that division, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, in previous years, we talked about the Seahawks defense at all times. We had Sherman back then, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. But now it's just Bobby Wagner remaining in that team. Even Frank Clark left. So that defensive side of the ball, it may not be as good as it once was. But Pete Carroll will find a way to make it work. But you can't discount Russell Wilson. This man is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in this league. And I feel that this year he has a lot to prove with the addition of DK Metcalf, who was a sensation, draft sensation before the draft even took place. We'll see how he does it. But Tyler Lockett and him will be a good 1-2 punch on the receiving end. But Chris Carson still has to produce on the backfield. But I feel that with Doug Baldwin out, these two has a big shot. I'm talking about Lockett and Metcalf have a huge shot to make this a very potent passing attack. So all relies on Russell Wilson. I'm going to give the Seahawks a 9-7 finish this year. Let's move on to the AFC West. Who do we start with? Let's start with the Denver Broncos. Now, with the addition of Joe Flacco on offense, replacing Case Keenum, if you can get Flacco to the playoffs, that's a different quarterback we're looking at. But a regular season Flacco, I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank. We also have the addition of Kareem Jackson and Bryce Callen on the defensive side of the ball to go with Chris Harris Jr. So the new coach, Vic Fangio, will have plenty of defensive players to work with. Of course, let's mention Von Miller. They did lose Malik Jackson from the defensive line, so that will be a huge issue for them. But Von Miller, as long as he's there, the defensive side of the ball will never be an issue for the Broncos. But when you look at the offense, they drafted Noah Fant as a tight end in the first round. They also drafted Drew Lock. Drew Lock, I don't think he's going to get in the first 8 weeks of the season. If Flacco experiment fails for them, I think he will get in. But Drew Lock, I think he needs to sit out at least a year before he can see the field. So we'll see what happens with that. But Philip Lindsay will be a huge help in the backfield for them, whoever starts at quarterback. So Cortland Sutton, Emmanuel Sanders, they're going to be the starting receivers with Demaryius Thomas gone now. And I predict the Broncos to go 7-9 this season. Let's move on to the team that is starring in Hard Knocks. I'm not sure if you guys watched the episode last night. The Oakland Raiders are off to a interesting start, I would say. You got rookies getting in John Gruden's face and talking back. You got Antonio Brown training on his own, and then all of a sudden he has this hypothermia issue that he's battling. Not sure what's happening with that. But I don't think the Oakland Raiders will have a good year because it's the last year in Oakland. They're moving to Vegas next year. And with the new GM, Mike Mayock, he did make a lot of changes. Of course, they went after Antonio Brown, added left tackle Trent Brown. They added Tyrell Williams from the LA Chargers. Vontaze Burfict comes off from the Bengals. LaMarcus Joyner from the Rams. Brandon Marshall, the linebacker from the Broncos. They added a lot of pieces, but I just still don't think this team will be able to do anything because they have so many distractions. You have Derek Carr, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. You have Antonio Brown, who hopefully he will show up just to play and keep his mouth shut, but we can't count on that. And this is the team that's going to travel the most this season across the NFL. So they have a London game. They have several East Coast early start games. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for them. I predict the Raiders to finish 6-10. I'm not very high on them this year, unfortunately. So let's see what happens with that. Let's move on to one of my favorite teams in the league, the LA Chargers, with Phillip Rivers back for another year. I believe this is his last year in his contract. Not entirely sure on that. I'll double check on that for you guys. But they didn't add a lot. They have Melvin Gordon on the offensive side who's holding out. I don't know if he's going to play or not, or if he might sit out like Le'Veon Bell. But they have Austin Eckler still, and the offensive side of the ball still has Keenan Allen. They have Hunter Henry back at full strength. They also have Mike Williams. I mean, they still have a good offense, but their defense, they have Joey Bosa, Derwin James. This team is going to be very good on defense. Of course, Gus Bradley is going to be returning as DC one more time. I think the Chargers, this is their year, and if they can't go all the way this year, it'll be hard for them. So I'm going to finish 10-6 for that. And the last team in this division is the Kansas City Chiefs. AFC Championship last year, when I predict they will finish 5-11. So I'm going to flip their record. I'm going to give them 11-5. People have tape on Patrick Mahomes now. So, especially Bill Belichick, as you could see what happened in the AFC title game. He will slow down a little bit. He won't have a breakout year like he did last year. They will limit him a little bit. He will not have Kareem Hunt this year to start with. He'll have Damian Williams running the ball. Not sure how good he's going to be for an entire season. They did add players on the defensive side of the ball. They added Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu, Emmanuel Ogbah, Darren Lee, Alex Okafor. So they're trying to fix that defense. And with the addition of new coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, who's the former Giants defensive coordinator, could be a huge deal for them. So maybe the defense side of the ball will stop the bleeding from the other side. So hopefully that'll work out for them. But that offense still has every explosive player you can think of on the wide receiving core. You have Tyreek Hill. You got Travis Kelce. You got this dude they drafted, Mecole Hardman. They're the fastest receiving core in the league. I'm not going to doubt that offense one bit. I think they'll finish 11-5, and I think they will be a serious contender of AFC title again this year. So yeah, the Chargers and the Chiefs will battle it out for AFC West. So let me know what you guys think of these picks. Next Wednesday, we'll have NFC and AFC North for you. Until then, it's Talking Pigskin signing off.